All right, let's do this.
There we go.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. We got dinner. I'll get you whatever you want if we can get out. Okay. Ma'am. Do we need a roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Do a roll call.
Okay.
Commissioner Sibley.
Here.
Commissioner Fenster.
Here.
Commissioner Norton.
Here.
Commissioner Barnard.
Here.
Councilmember Peck.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Everybody should have the meeting minutes in their packet, and I hope everyone's had an opportunity to review it. Do I have a motion for the approval of the May 2nd, 2024 minutes?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Thanks. Okay. Report from chairperson. Since our chairperson is not here tonight, I did not prepare any remarks. So I move that we go on to communications from HPC staff liaison.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Norton. So it's actually been a pretty busy couple of months. So I'm sure you guys can hear me here. So we've had a number of administrative certificates of appropriateness that have been issued, roof replacements like with like. The Aspen Center at 501 Fifth Avenue. They are about to begin doing some mortar repointing and brick repair on the front facade of that building, and doing some washing basically to do some restoration and repair work on the brick facade there. Probably the biggest thing is Old St. Stephen's Church, and this is one that I did communicate with Chairperson Lane on. St. Stephen's Church is, they finally are they've got their insurance stuff dealt with. So they are about to replace the roof that is pretty deteriorated on their building, essentially with the same style of metal roof. They are also going to be replacing the downspouts and the gutters with same style that they currently have. And then doing window and fascia restoration. So they do know that if the windows move beyond restoration, if there are any that just can't be restored, then they know they have to come before the commission. That said, they have Deep Roots as their contractor, so I have confidence that their contractor will lead them in the correct direction. So they do have a historic preservation specialist doing that. So, and then the other thing you'll see is the Central Presbyterian Church across the street. They are doing they are replacing some of their rooftop HVAC units, or they're adding a mini split to it. So it won't be visible from the street, but they wanted to make sure they had all the correct documentation. Additionally, Chairman Lane and I, we are in the process of doing our very first demolition review with the new code requirements. There is a proposal. They've done a pre-application meeting at 844 Baker Street. So we're currently reviewing the documentation on that. There's a small home on a very large lot that is being proposed for subdivision and construction of 2 new homes. So we're taking a look at that. We do have a cultural resources survey from some of the earlier efforts that were done as part of the historic East Side survey work. So we do have some documentation on there on that particular building. So I'll have a more full report on that particular one at the next meeting. Just wanted to make you aware that it is coming up. So, and then finally, I have a couple other items that are come up under I'll discuss under prior business, but on the survey plan, the team from Ayers and Associates who are working on this, Josh Olhava and Tim Stroh is their subcontractor. They've done their windshield surveys, have a preliminary priority list that they're working to incorporate into a draft report. and I should have that the week of August 5th. So probably won't have it for the August commission meeting. Definitely will have it for the September commission meeting. So that is still chugging along. And I have the meeting times and the commission candidate listed under prior business, but I'm going to go ahead and do it as part of my staff report, if that's acceptable. Meeting time, Maria did check in on the meeting times. Apparently the safety and justice work is taking a little longer than they anticipated, which is never a surprise to anyone who knows how those things go. So we will continue to begin at 6 p.m. at least through September because of those scheduling conflicts. If we want to, if the board wishes to consider making the 6 p.m. start time a permanent thing, that's something that would need a vote and require a bylaw amendment for that. And then finally, we do have a new board member. The appointment of Dawn Tarrick's appointment was confirmed by City Council at their meeting last night. So her first meeting as a commission member will be the August 1st meeting. So there was a bit of a delay getting the council confirmations due to agenda scheduling and such. So that has been taken care of and is done. So we do have a new commissioner.
That's exciting because I think that's exciting, and I think Commissioner Barnett and I really liked her in the interviews. So good. I'm glad she was approved, and she'll be here next month.
Yes, so that is what I have.
Lovely.
If there are any questions for me, I am happy to.
Yeah. Yes.
Just to confirm where August 1st is our next meeting?
Yes.
Thursday again?
Yes,
On
first Thursday, yes. We're only meeting on Wednesday this week because Thursday was the 4th of July and people were watching fireworks and doing other things and generally celebrating a holiday.
Does anybody on this commission feel strongly about the 6 p.m. start time? Is that something we should discuss and put up for a vote at the next meeting? Or is everybody comfortable going back to the 5 p.m.? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll let you guys schedule as you need to then. Okay. Thank you. Can I ask one question? Yeah.
We talked to Steve.
Yeah, see what he thinks.
He's working and
Yeah,
maybe a difference for him.
yeah. I think that's a good idea, and then we could always put it on the agenda. It's nice to hear that you guys are doing a demolition review. I noticed in my neighborhood, and I meant to check how far our demolition ordinance extended. There was a demolition on Sunset, 303 Sunset.
Yes, so I did, our building folks did, they're now in the habit of running anything that could be old by me. So our demolition review only covers the original town plat.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that particular property did not fall into our purview for demolition review. But the good news is our building folks are on the ball, and when in doubt, they send it to me to take a look at.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions or comments for staff? Okay. So next is public invited to be heard. Are you public? Then, are you asking to be heard on a topic that is not on this agenda? Okay, then we will hear from you in a moment. Thank you, sir. So next is our public hearing on the historic landmark designation for the Tower of Compassion. So I will turn it back over to staff.
And I will stand up for this one. So my presentation is fairly brief because I know we have discussed this particular property quite extensively on the commission, and the meeting packet item for this proposed landmark designation has quite a bit of detail in it as well. So we are here considering a landmark designation for the Tower of Compassion, which is located in Kanemoto Park. This is a city-owned property, and City Council did recommend that that this commission take it up and hear a proposal for a landmark designation to make a recommendation back to City Council on this. So, as I mentioned, this is located in Kanemoto Park in the Southmore neighborhood in the southern part of Longmont. It was donated to the Kanemoto family to thank the city of Longmont for its kindness to the family and to the Japanese American community, particularly during the dark days of World War II. The property, the pagoda it is a Japanese pagoda. It's a traditionally styled Japanese pagoda, and the documentation that we've seen is that it is thought to be the first Japanese style pagoda east of California. So it's a pretty special and unique property. It was built in 1973, which means it officially meets that 50-year threshold for a landmark designation. As I mentioned, council agreed to pursue landmark designation, so we are bringing it back to the commission for consideration. Our Historic Preservation Code includes 8 criteria for designation in addition to the 50-year age requirement. If the owner is seeking designation, only one of those criteria is required to be met. In the present case, 6 of the 8 criteria for designation are met, so it is incredibly significant. One other thing to note is that History Colorado, as part of the state sesquicentennial celebration coming up in 2026, they have an initiative called History for All, where they are really seeking to add properties associated with underrepresented communities to the state historic register. So, in speaking with Damian Pachota, excellent, got it right. In speaking with him, if we basically we're next in line, once we get this designated as a local landmark, we can send it forward for state designation. At this point, it would be probably the 4th site in the state of Colorado associated with the Asian American community. So, it's a extremely unique property, and it has both locally for the city of Longmont, but also for the state of Colorado. And the cultural survey that was completed for this also indicated that this is probably eligible for National Register designation as well. So we'll be pursuing the full gamut of designations. Once it's designated, once it has local designation, or assuming it obtains local destinations, we are a certified local government. So that means we would be able to pursue funding through the State Historic Fund and other state funding sources to contribute towards the restoration and maintenance work to ensure that it's done in a way that is historically correct. For that particular property. So with that, staff recommends that the commission recommend to City Council that the Tower of Compassion be designated a local historic landmark.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I have some questions.
Sure, and I do believe our guest wanted to speak as well regarding this project.
Has there been any involvement of the federal government in this project or in the facility, the property itself?
No, this is strictly a local site, and it just met the eligibility requirements. So basically, the order of operations is we're doing local landmark designation, and once we have that, we will complete the work to do state and national register designation.
The Department of Interior has not indicated any interest in it?
Not at this point. It has not been presented to them.
Are they aware that it exists?
I'm not aware that they do know it exists. We have just recently done the historic survey for it within the last year, less than the last year, and it just became eligible for listing in the last year as well. So we really are kind of ahead of the curve on this for this particular property.
And I have similar questions regarding the Japanese government as it might be represented by the embassy in Washington. Are they aware of the project?
We haven't gotten to that point yet, but that is definitely that's definitely an excellent point to bring it to their attention.
I ask both questions because it may affect how the project is funded, both systematically, annually, and permanently. If the Japanese government, say through the embassy, expressed an interest, we might obtain some help from Japan, or from the Interior Department in its maintenance and operation. But I'm a little disturbed to hear that they're totally unaware of it. Is that possible?
That they are totally unaware. I'm not aware that they're aware. This is the very first step from the city's perspective, is to get it designated locally, and then move forward with the state and national designations as well. So we're very much in the beginning stages of this, and view
But-
local designation as a first step.
But the facility itself is something of an antique and has a significant historical value.
So 50 years is the age. So once something reaches 50 years of age, then it is eligible for designation both at the local and the federal level. And so it turned 50 last year. So we really are kind of in those first steps of getting it recognized and going through the processes so that we can ensure that there are funding sources and start seeking additional funding sources beyond the city general fund for work on it. So
But it seems to me that at least the Interior Department has a sustaining and long-term interest in it. And they should be aware of what we locally are doing. Is that not the case yet?
they will be aware once we put forth an application for National Register designation.
So,
And Holly, Commissioner Norton can probably speak a lot more competently than I can in her role with the state.
there are individuals within the Department of the Interior that are very aware of this. Just as they're aware of lots of historic sites. The National Register program is run through National Park Service, which is part of the DOI.
I'm aware of that, yes.
And they don't, regardless of kind of their awareness, they don't become officially interested until a community brings forth the nomination that Ms. Hewitt-Apperson is talking about. So tonight we will hopefully, and we already did, we'll forward the local designation onto the City Council. And then if City Council accepts it, and as the owners of the property, if City Council approves it, then we will put together the documentation package to send to the DOI. It goes through History Colorado. That's the conduit to get it to who we call the keeper of the National Register in DC. So I think that there are probably, and I'm sorry for the feedback in whatever it is I'm doing, there are individuals who I think have been waiting for this property to reach 50 years old and will be really happy to see this come across their desk.
Yeah, I'm a little disturbed by what appears to be the fact that the Interior Department is unaware of it. Unaware of its existence, perhaps.
There's no nexus for them to have any involvement with it until the city of Longmont requests that involvement. So it's.
I don't
And-
think that's the case, and I definitely suggest that some research be done on that subject, because I am aware of other instances, particularly relating to facilities that owe their origins in or around World War II, where the Interior Department has an ongoing interest in them and is a potential source for funding.
Yes.
Ongoing funding and capital funding. And I think as a matter of courtesy, the Japanese government, through the embassy, should be informed of the existence of the facility and what is being done to it, because they are a source of funding.
Maybe we can send a request. Yes, sir. Sorry, hold on. You are seat 8?
First, I just want to compliment you, Jen, on the quality of the packet that we got sent around. And I think it's just an excellent piece of work. I was expecting, because you've done that leading up to it. We saw a lot of this stuff early on. With respect to the steps, I think we want to hoe to our line, to our row in our boat. And our boat right now is getting a recommendation to the owner of the property as to what we think they should do. And then it's really their decision at that point, what they wanted, and not just making a decision of the, with respect to the landmark status, but then how much further do they want to go and who do they want to make aware? So I think, well, the mayor's here and here's what we're saying, but the fact is, our job is, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. While I respect Commissioner Fenster's idea, I just think we don't want to get ahead of ourselves by reaching out to all different levels of government when we don't own the property. That's up to the city council who they want to reach out to and what role they want the commission to have, if any, going forward. That's really up to them and what they're going to come back to us with. So I guess my question is, once we make this recommendation, do we have a role at that point, or are we done all we need to do?
So I think that's a good question. There are obviously there's a likelihood that things could come back to the commission as we pursue various grant funding and such. If we need commission authorization for anything of that nature, obviously there would be updates. If work is done on the tower, it would, the commission would know about it. Absolutely. So, I think you're correct in that at this point, the step is for the commission to make a recommendation to city council, and then city council will hold their public hearings. I have this tentatively on the council agenda for, give me a second here. First reading, which is on the consent agenda, on August 13th. And then the actual public hearing and vote would be September 10th. So once I have those dates finalized and hardened up, I will send an email to the members of the commission so that you are aware of the public hearing, and if you wish to speak as part of it, you definitely have that opportunity.
Yes, sir.
I'm concerned because
I'm sorry, can you get your button again?
I'm concerned because I regard the facility as so valuable, both locally and nationally, given its World War II relationship, that it needs all of the protection and funding that our government, both local government and national government, might be able to provide. And I do not agree with the notion that the national government, meaning the Interior Department principally, but not only, because I think the State Department would have an interest also. I don't believe that we should wait any longer to inform them that it exists and what we're doing with it.
Perhaps when we make our recommendation to City Council, we should also let them know that there is a sense of urgency to get the National Register nomination moved forward if they so desire. And also, is there, it's been a couple of months, maybe about 6 since the last time I saw it. It looked like it was in great condition and great shape. Is there any need for urgency in terms of thinking about funding for capital construction? Or are we in a state right now where it is in good repair and good maintenance and we're not concerned?
I would need to confirm with the Parks Department on
Okay.
that, with the facilities maintenance folks in parks, but
Yeah.
my understanding is it's in good condition. I know there was some damage sustained during the 2013 floods that has been repaired. So we would need to work closely with our colleagues in the Parks Department as well. So it's a very multifaceted property. It's owned by the city of Longmont. It's managed by Parks and Recreation. So there's a few different moving parts for this particular one. But yeah, it's at this point we're at the first step. So we're getting there.
Yeah.
And from a
yeah.
policy standpoint, it's really up to the city council
Yes.
to determine how far they wish to pursue coordination and, with both the federal government and potentially with, with the embassies.
Sorry, excuse me, just a second, sir. Someone else? Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Thank you. I just want to pop in for a second. You're absolutely correct that it has to come to us first, and even if we make a motion to direct staff to look at having it informing the Secretary of
Interior.
yes, thank you. That would be a direction to staff, and you're part of staff, so it would come back to you. So it is a process. And I think that we're on the right step. I like hearing what Jennifer has done and the steps that would be taken. So we could direct staff at that point when this comes up on, I don't know if it'd be first or second. It didn't really matter. It'd be one or the other reading to go ahead and inform the Secretary of the Interior that we have asked for local historic landmark designation. And at that point, they can do whatever they do. That's out of, I don't have any idea what they do.
I mean, ultimately, the National Register nomination goes through the Department of the Interior,
Right.
via History Colorado.
Yeah.
Right.
So the state ultimately has to basically say, yes, we think this is national designation worthy.
So I can ask for that letter to be written from the city if that's what the commission wants.
Thank you. Okay.
My recommendation, as someone experienced in such matters, particularly relating to the federal government and to World War II, is that the federal government, through at least the Department of the Interior and perhaps also the Department of State, be informed now of the existence of the facility and the potential interest in preserving it intact and providing funding, permanent funding, for its preservation and access. It's in an area where a lot of development goes on, and it could easily be compromised. But based on my experience, there is a reason for the Department of the Interior to formally express an interest in its preservation so that any attempt to compromise it can be headed off.
Okay. Let's make that recommendation. Okay.
Let's discuss it.
Sorry, hold on just a second. Sir, there you are. Go ahead.
Okay. I would oppose that proposal of Commissioner Fenster's. I think that a process like this has to be taken, you have to get your ducks in a row. And we're not there yet. and to reach out in any manner when you don't have your homework done completely and you don't have your votes. We don't know how the council's even going to vote on this. I suspect they'll give it a positive vote, but
Yeah.
the point is, there's a lot of things that have to be done before we start reaching out to other potential stakeholders. We say in an administrative process, you have to be extremely careful that you don't get ahead of your game, because otherwise you're going to get questioned when you do. Well, have you done this? Well, why are you coming to us before you've done that? And then we look foolish.
Would you like to make a motion?
No, if Commissioner Fenster wants to make a motion, I would not second it and would vote against it. But, I don't think we need any
Okay.
motion at all. We have a motion on the table
Okay.
anyway. Was that approved to?
We did. We already approved to send it
Okay,
forward to council.
So then if Commissioner
Okay.
Fenster wants to make a motion, if
Yeah.
it gets a second, I would vote against it.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion, sir?
No, I think,
Okay, because I think that
no, I think it's enough.
we should, okay.
On my part, to suggest that the federal government,
Okay.
through the Department of the Interior and perhaps also the Japanese embassy, be informed of the existence of the facility and the fact that steps are being taken for its preservation. If the city doesn't want to do that, I think that's the city's privilege. But I think it is a serious mistake, even now, for the federal government and the several departments
Okay.
and agencies that have an interest to not even know of its existence.
And I
Yes.
believe we had a
Ma'am?
member of the audience who
Yes.
might want to speak on
Yes,
this as well.
but
so,
we'll
okay.
let Mayor
Sorry,
Peck
I just
have
wanted to
the
make
last
sure.
word.
I just wanted to make
Okay.
sure that was on
Okay.
the radar.
I'm going to be happy to talk to the city manager about this process going forward. And I'll bring back that answer.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Public, we would like to invite you to come forward and provide any comments you have on the Kanimoto Pagoda of Passion.
Thank you. Quick question. How much time do I have?
3 minutes.
Excellent. That'll be just fine. Hi, I'm a member of the public. My name is Matthew Popkin. I live at 850.
Yes, sir.
I don't think there's a time limit for the public hearing. There's time limit, but I think there's 20 to be heard. Is it 3 minutes?
I can take 3 hours if you want.
I believe it's 3 minutes. Yeah.
It won't be a problem. But thank you for checking.
And we will restart the clock.
I appreciate it. Good evening, Historic Preservation Commission. This is the first time I've come to one of your meetings, in person at least. My name is Matthew Popkin. I live at 852 Missouri Avenue in Southmore Park. I live across the street from the Tower of Compassion and Kanemoto Park. I see it every single day. So do my neighbors. We all find it a distinguished and beautiful part of the neighborhood. But that's not what you're voting on today. You're voting on whether it is a cultural and significant, historically significant landmark. And I'm here to say it absolutely is. And I've learned so much from the packet, from the plaques on site. It's a cultural and physical reminder of compassion, despite extreme xenophobia, which has frankly not disappeared, but taken different forms in recent years and decades. And that visual reminder is meaningful to our community, to our neighborhood, and to the city. It's meaningful toward Asian Americans and towards many others who have experienced xenophobia and other forms of discrimination. And the local and state history surrounding the tower's original construction is something that I hope everyone, frankly, in Longmont one day understands. I certainly didn't until learning more about it for this meeting. While the focus is on the tower, I did want to flag that the Torii Gate that is associated with the site is meaningful and significant too. It is referenced in the packet, but and you can see it on pages 23 to 25 of attachment 2. But while I'm not an expert on Japanese culture, my understanding is that the torii gate actually marks the boundary between the ordinary space and the sacred special space of these types of sites. And the gate is a distinct and culturally significant feature that meaningfully complements the Tower of Compassion. So I share this because unless the gate was constructed later from the tower, which I understand from conversations with Jennifer that might render it ineligible from funding, I think it would be prudent to stress more clearly in the application, especially at state and potentially at federal levels, that this makes the site even more distinguished. If the gate was not maintained, it would not only be a shame, but it would detract from the cultural and historical significance of the very Tower of Compassion that we're talking about today. So this is not just a prominent feature, but frankly a defining feature of the park, the tower and the gate combined, and a clear demarcation of historical significance. Presuming this designation would increase opportunities for funding to maintain the tower, torii gate, and any other associated features, I strongly encourage this commission to support the application for historic landmark designation at the local level and hopefully at more advanced levels down the road. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments, and thank you so much for bringing our attention to the importance and the significance of the torii gate. We'll take that into consideration as we move forward with other state register and national register nomination information. Yes, sir.
And if I may, I can clarify when this moves forward to city council that this encompasses the entire built.
We'll have
Portion.
to have very specific boundaries for state
Okay.
and national register, so we can just make sure that that's
Okay.
Commissioner Fenster.
Is there a dated perimeter? In other words, does the current planning, including providing a publicly owned perimeter that would protect the site generally from further development?
So in typically when we do landmark designations, we apply it to the boundary of the property, unless there's a reason to limit it to the structures. Looking at the cultural resource survey, the legal description is for Lot 2, Kanemoto Park, Burlington Elementary School subdivision, with a note that the legally defined parcel encompasses but does not exceed the land historically associated with the property. So I will confirm with the people in my building who are masters of legal descriptions that, as far as what the extent of the legal description would be, because I know we need a legal description for the state and national nominations, and I just need to confirm that this legal description is adequate.
Well, that's what I'd like to address. It's the word adequate. That's an area of fairly intense development for other purposes. And someone or some organization needs to make a determination of what a protective perimeter would be for that property. Because it might require further acquisitions of the property.
So this property, so the tower and the associated gates and such are within Kanemoto Park, so it's in a large city-owned parcel. So the likelihood that someone could come in and develop off portions of it is highly unlikely and would require,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Yes.
yeah,
It's currently very well protected.
yeah. So it does currently have
Yeah.
excellent protections.
Commissioner Barnett?
Yes, I'm looking at page 32 of the packet, where it talks about the elements, the assessment of historic physical integrity related to significance. And in there, it refers to both the tower retains its integrity of feeling as if relates directly to the Kanemoto family, ethnic heritage, Asian as an area of significance. The property as a whole, including the tower itself, the Tory Gate, the cherry tree grove, the bronze plaques, and the park setting evoke deep feelings, blah, blah, blah. So it seems to me that this assessment here is quite inclusive and should speak to the issue. And I would just suggest that whatever needs to be done to make that happen as far as boundaries or description or whatever, but it appears clear in the presentation that that was intended.
So I believe I was out of order before when we went ahead with the vote prior to listening to public remarks. Is there anything about Mr. Popkin's remarks that would change our recommendation to forward this to council? Do we want to redo that vote? No. Okay. Thank you, and I apologize. I will get better at this someday, I'm sure. Then the council has decided to please forward this to City Council for consideration of local landmark designation. Thank you and Carl for this fantastic assessment of the site. It is incredibly thorough. I agree with Commissioner Barnard. And thank you, Mr. Popkin, for coming to speak about it. I'm glad that it means so much to the community and that you're willing to spend your time with us here this evening. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So do we have any new business this evening? All right. Do we have any prior business? We already discussed the commissioner candidate who will be starting next month, which is very exciting. Other prior business? Any comments from any of the HPC commissioners? Any comments from Mayor Peck?
Thank you. No, other than this, I really enjoyed this conversation and the time that you took, because this is an amazing structure. And my family and I lived over right off of Missouri, right across from it as well, for 4 years, and we saw it every day. I want to say that I am going to Chino, Japan next March for their 40th or 50th anniversary, and want to invite, I don't know which Kanemoto is still with us. It's either Jimmy or
Jimmy's the main one.
Jimmy,
But
yeah.
we had
There's several.
25 of them at the Symphony Gala,
I know.
so.
It's great. So I would like to take whatever historic preservation and a copy of that and give it to Jimmy to take to Chino, because it was the Kanemoto family that got us with Mayor, what's her name? Leona Stecker, that introduced us to Chino, Japan as a sister city. So the Kanemotos have been a huge influence in our city. So I think it's all very appropriate and very exciting.
I think that's lovely.
I think it would be great.
Thank you, Mayor Peck. Anything else? Let me flip my paper over. All right. If there are no other comments from anybody, do I have a motion to go to dinner? Do we have a second? I'll second. Okay. All in favor? Okay. That was unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a great meeting, everybody.